I want to start by asking you something. What if I gave you 5 extra hours a day? Would your life actually feel better? Or would you just fill it with things like scrolling on Instagram or binge watching TV or extra pressure to do more things? For a long time, I genuinely believed I had a time problem. I thought that if I had just a little more time in my day, I'd finally feel on top of everything. On top of my business, my training, my relationships, and all my goals. But what I've slowly realized is most of us don't have a time problem. We have a priorities problem or an awareness problem of how we use our time. And once I understood this, I understood how to structure my time better. There's this interesting concept in the book, The 5 Types of Wealth by Sahil Bloom, and this genuinely stopped me in my tracks because he talks about calculating how many times you realistically have left with your loved ones. Now, for some of us, that could be every day, every weekend, whatever. But in his example, he talks about visiting his parents 5 times a year, and say they're in their 60s and they're going to live till they're 80, right? So 5 times a year for the next 20 years is only 100 more visits. And when I first read this, I didn't feel as much weight as I did when I put myself into that calculation and I calculated how many times actually I would have left with my parents. And it was really a moment that I realized that my problem with my time is my priorities. I'm not getting my priorities in order. If I prioritize family, or you prioritize family, you need to have that as one of the main things that you spend or allocate your time to. Time can feel unlimited, especially when we're young, and we allocate it willy-nilly to things that don't really impact us or build us the life that we want. But the moment that you take a step back and have awareness for the fact that time is finite and that it's not going to be forever, we need to start to look at it as a resource that we use or choose to use very specifically in the way that you can start asking yourself better questions as to what should I really spend my time doing. If you're anything like me, you probably care about so many things. You want to build your business, you want to train, you want to grow your following on YouTube, you want to make your relationships the best, and you want to develop your mindset. All of these are fantastic things, and it's amazing that you want to improve everything in so many areas of your life at once. However, it just doesn't work like that. And the moment that I realized this is the moment that I actually felt so much less guilty and so much more at peace with my choices. So the problem really arises when we try to push forward in, those 5 major areas in our life all at once, and we expect ourselves to improve simultaneously in all of those areas, and we're trying to spread ourselves thin. We feel stretched because we're giving as much effort as we possibly can to all of those areas of our life at once. And if you've done this before, which I'm sure you probably have, and that's likely the reason you've clicked on this video, this is how tension arises, and that tension usually comes from the guilt that we're not succeeding in all of the areas of our lives that we're working on. And when I started to look at my life more like a portfolio, we wouldn't invest 100% of our money into a single investment. Just like you can't put 100% of your energy into one area forever without something else being neglected. And having time balance doesn't mean that everything gets equal time every day. What it means is that you're being intentional about where you allocate your time, and the balance comes from allocating your time to your priorities. And one of the biggest shifts for me, especially when it comes to building my online presence, my business, and my relationships and everything in my life that I'm working towards, is understanding the concept of seasons. We have business seasons, we have health seasons, we have relationship seasons. There's so many seasons in our lives, and it's going to be really personal to you what season you're at. And for me, I'm in my business season, so I know that the thing that I'm prioritizing is building my YouTube channel, building my business online. And the mistake you can make is thinking that you're failing because you're only accelerating on one of these. But the truth is you can't actually accelerate in more than one direction at one point in time. So understanding that concept of seasons and knowing that this is your focus right now, whatever season it may be for you, allows you to be at peace with the fact that all the other areas of your life, all the other seasons of your life, and they're just at maintenance levels moving through. And I think it's really important that you give yourself the grace to understand that and focus on the thing that is your priority right now, and give it that time and let those other things sit there. And for you, it may be relationships. Maybe it's your relationship season, and socializing is important to you, nurturing those relationships is important to you. So you would put or allocate a lot of your time into that thing. So whenever I start to feel overwhelmed, I ask myself these 3 questions. Number 1, does this task, action, thing, project align with the person that I want to become? And if you really ask yourself this question and the answer is no, this doesn't really align with who I want to be or who I'm becoming, then you sure as hell shouldn't be allocating your time to it. Like I said in the start of the video, we know now that time is finite. We know that no matter what we do, we can't make more hours in a day. But what we can do is we can choose appropriately how we spend our time based on our priorities. And if we're deciding to spend our time doing something that isn't aligning with the person we want to become, then it's an absolute waste of time, and we need to cut it from our time bank immediately. The second question I ask is, will I regret saying no to this in 5 years' time? And when you really think about this, a lot of the times you ask yourself this question, so you're not going to regret saying no to it. Say it's your sister's wedding. Of course, if you regret saying, you're going to regret saying no to not going, right? Like, you want to go to your sister's wedding. That's a meaningful thing to most people, is going to their sister's wedding. But with other things like, you know, house parties or pub crawls or any other random thing that you ask yourself, will it really matter to me in 5 years' time? Like, is this the most important thing to me? Will I look back in 5 years' time and be like, damn, I'm really disappointed I missed that thing? Or will I look back and think the alternative was better? And the third question, which I think is the most important question, is what is this replacing? So as we know, we don't have any more time, but when we take on something new or do something new or spend our time somewhere else, we have to do this knowing that we have to give up something in order to do this. So we have to really prioritize, is this new thing more worth my time than this original thing that I'm doing? And a lot of the time, the new thing is you're growing as a person and you're moving into being the person you want to become. So it's natural for you to have different ways to spend your time in order to get you to the person you want to be. I'm sure you can say this, even say this yourself. When you look back, the busy weeks and work weeks just blur together. Like, you probably won't remember like that random Tuesday you answered emails for 6 hours, but you will remember going to your sister's wedding, or you will remember attending that family dinner. So it's really important that you determine what your season is and what you're prioritizing spending your time on. If we look at this practically, how do we make ourselves feel like we have enough time for everything without feeling stretched? So first, you need to pick your top 3 categories. This could be health, this could be business, this could be relationships, this could be your finances. There's so many different categories you can choose from. And basically what I'm asking you to do is to pick your 3 main priorities right now. For me, it's easy. I know that it's business, I know that it's health, and I know that's my relationships, and those 3 things are my non-negotiables at the moment. And that's why they have priority on my calendar. You need to schedule those things in first. In fact, pause the video right now and time block in your calendar the weeks and months and even across the year, time for the 3 things that you have picked to do. So if that's growing your business, time block that out right now in your calendar. Do your repeats, so repeats every day or whatever day you're going to do it, and put in a few dot points of the actions and things you're going to take or do towards achieving that goal or priority. And at the same time, whilst you're in your calendar doing that stuff, let's do a little audit. Let's remove those 20% of low return commitments that are things like random meetings that you don't need to attend, scrolling on your phone, watching TV, just automatic random yeses because you felt like you had to agree to it. Cut those out of your calendar. Give yourself more time to allocate your priorities, because when we think about it, we probably don't need a new productivity system here. We just need better awareness of our priorities and the actual ability to prioritize those things without guilt. You don't need more hours in the day, but you do need to decide what deserves your limited time. And once you achieve this, you will be amazed at how much time you feel like you actually have. How you spend your time needs to be different. It needs to be in alignment with who you're becoming, what you want to do, and your priorities right now in these seasons. When you understand that, you'll stop asking how to find time for it and you'll make time for it. And you'll also ask yourself different questions like, what actually matters right now? Or what is actually going to matter to me in the long run? And those questions are what changes how you build your identity and change how you build your life. See you in the next video.